Hello everybody, welcome. I'm Joy Yaz. Welcome. So basically, in this individual reading, it's gonna be for tarot card reading, and it's gonna be for Virgo, for October 2nd to October 12th of 2025. So in this reading for you, Virgo, I just want to say that this is gonna be very interesting on how it's gonna be in this, how it is in that way, because we're going to understand what's going on in this whole entire situation, no matter how it is in this way. But you understand that, right? Everything is gonna be all good, but you understand what works, what doesn't, but you have to understand that. You have to read between the lines. That's how it goes, and you have to participate, no matter how it goes in that perspective, no matter how it is. So, in this wonderful reading, I'm going to tell you all this oracle card. It is love. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. Love is a very interesting way. Love is going to be very perfection. That's how it goes. An affectionist of how it seems to be. But love is a very good way of knowing to do that. That's the way how it goes. But you understand that. You have to understand about what's going on in that way, no matter how it is in that perspective, no matter how it seems to be in that way, and this is how it goes. So you have to understand of how it's going to be in that perspective, no matter how it is. So you have to understand about what's going on in that way. And when you look for love, you know how it goes in that way. Because love can spread everything, no matter how it is, right? From the young, from the old, from the old generation to the new generation, whatever it is. But it all depends about your love as the way it goes in that way, because that's the way it's going to be in that way, right? So that's how it is. So I'm going to see what's happening, and I'll see what's going on in this situation, no matter what's going to be in that way, right? So this is how it's going to be. So remember, this is just a reading for you, no matter what's happening in this whole entire situation, no matter how it is in that way, because this is the way it works. So let's see what's going on for you, Virgo. Let's see. So in this situation about this whole entire reading, you have to make sure what's happening in that way. Is you think, oh, everything seems to be fine, but everything how it is. This is like how it is. You're not trying to be a wild child, but the way all this is, you have to understand that, right? So 9 of Swords reverse, you have no drama. You know how trauma here, not the way it all works. Ace of Swords reverse, there's no Ace of Pentacles reverse, there's no prosperity. Three of Pentacles reverse, there's no excitement. Eight of Pentacles is actually like everything's all perfect. That's how it goes. So it might represent another Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. You don't know why. The world is upright. There's basic completion. Everything's all completed. And the Fire Swords are there's conflict here. I don't know why you're having conflict, but the way how this is not going to be in that way, because that's how it goes. So let's see what's happening. So I'm going to clarify this Ace of Pentacles to this 9 of Swords. 9 of Wands reverse. 6 of Cups is upright. 5 of the Moon is upright. Yeah, so there's mixed rotations here. This 6 of Cups does represent the past. Don't know why you're drawing on to the past, but that's how it goes. Because you might be dealing with another Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio in that way. Because you need to understand that. You need to understand what works, what doesn't. And you're trying to not play games here. You're trying to know what it is in that way. You know how everything's to be fine. But you know what, Virgo, you need to get to the point. You need to understand to stay your ground, to know about your abilities. For the right wrong perspective, that's all you can do. But you take a risk. You take a risk for granted. And when you do, that's the way how it works. What's this? 3 of Pentacles to this World card. For a Sword card, there's rest or healing. 6 1 card, there's celebration. Just reverse, you're not telling the truth. You're lying about something. You're lying that like things are not happening all at once. I don't know why you're lying, Virgo, but when you lie, it's like this is something that's happening that way, where you want love or you want respect or you want things to be happening all at once. But if you think about the past, you think about the past. It's like, why me? I can't do it anymore. I quit. Yes, but in that way, you have to understand that you're trying to know what it is in that perspective. That's the way it goes. You need to understand the way how it is, because you're trying to make a wise choice. That's why it is in that way. What is the Pentacles in this 5 Swords here? The 5 Pentacles is upright, the Hermit is upright, and then the Lovers reverse. Yeah, because you're looking for a soulmate, Virgo. That's the way it goes. This 5 Pentacles, it does represent you want prosperity, you want money. That's the way it goes. The Lovers reverse, you're not making decisions. I have no idea why. But let me clarify this Lovers card. 4 Pentacles reverse, there's no prosperity. 3 Cups upright, there's celebration. And the Page of Cups upright, there's loyalty. You want loyalty because that's how it goes. You're trying to figure out why are you, participating about it, because that's how it goes. It's like things are be happening all at once, but you know what? You're trying to seem to be that, right? It's like you're saying that nobody cares. But in that way, Virgo, you need to get to the point where you understand that. That's the way it goes. You're trying to make a wise decision. You know how it takes, but you understand that, right? You know how it goes in that way, right? So it's like you have to understand what works, what doesn't. But this is not PG. This is not the way how it works. But in that way, that's the way it goes. So let me clarify between the Moon card, the 6 Cups, and the 9 Wands. The Strength card, there's bravery. Yeah, because you want to have bravery. Okay, what's between this 4 of Swords, 6 of Wands, and this Justice? Lord of Yours, there's incompletion. Something that is incompleted. What's between this 5 Pentacles, Page of Cups, and this 3 of Cups? The stars are right there. It's inspiration. Obviously there is. But let's see what's going on here. Let's see. So tell me something what's opposite with this Strength card here for Virgo. But the Hangman reverse, there's no restrictions. Sun card, there's positivity. Alright, what's this Hangman about? The Strength card reverse, you're being scared. Right? You're whimpering. Right? You're being scared because it's like I can't take this anymore. I quit. Yes, but in that way, right, you keep doing it, right? You need to draw the line. You need to figure out what's happening. If you want positivity, you want to stay positive. You might be thinking, oh well, this is not going to be doing it, but that's how it goes. You need to understand that. This is not the need for speed. This is not the way it works, but you understand how it goes. If you want love, Virgo, you pay attention to it, no matter how it goes. What's this Virgo card for Virgo? Blue Force reverse, your honey bad luck. The Empress upright, you want nourishment. Tower reverse, there's no transformation. The Temperance upright, there's healing. Yeah, because you want it. You want things to be happening all at once because you're thinking that, oh, nobody doesn't care about you. But secondly, everybody does care about you. It could be. But if you're saying that you want loyalty, you want respect, you have to pay attention to it. If you're being scared, you're not having the strength. So you have the ability to understand what you want, what you get, but you understand that. That's the way it goes. You're trying to see that everything's going to be good in that way because you need to understand that. This is not a wise decision, but this is the way it goes, right? This is not a show and tell situation. I'm showing you this or you're telling you this, whatever it is. But it's not wait, that's how it goes. What's this Star card about? Where is there? There's completion. It's just that you're telling the truth. Again, you are basically saying that you're telling the truth, but you're not telling the truth. You're lying about something. But if you keep this up, things are not going as planned. It's like, why are you saying that? Because you have to understand that. Which is like almost a double trouble here, but it's not really. You know what I mean? That's the way it goes. So let me clarify this this Strength card for you, Virgo. The Sun card is upright, there's positivity. Fool is upright, there's change. And Magician is upright, you want skill. Obviously that's what you want. You want things to be happening all at once, but Virgo, you get to the point. You get to the point from the left, right, and center. That's what you can do. But if you want love, you want that. You want that respect to understand that. That's the way it goes, right? So you understand how you're doing it because that's how it goes. You're not trying to have a playboy situation. You're not, having more fights. But abilities, you understand that. That's the way it goes. So if you want to stay positive, that's all you can do. But if you're into this, positivity, negativity, you need to drop it. You need to focus about not focusing about the past. The past is the past. You leave that alone, right? That's the way it goes. If you want to have love, respect, and you want people to recognize you, that's why it seems to be. Maybe you need to change your appearance. Maybe you change your attitude. I don't know. But you understand that, right? That's the way it seems to be. What's reading this Empress card and this Temperance. The Judgment reverse, there's no action. Hermit reverse, you already have a soulmate. The Death card reverse, there's no endings. So I'm going to clarify between the Judgment and the Hermit and the Death card. Feel fortune is upright. You're having that good luck. That's the way it goes. What's happening? There's Judgment here. The Star reverse, there's no inspiration. Moon reverse, there's no expectations. The Emperor reverse, there's no structure. Here, the Here from Aries, there's no guidance, and the tower is up right there is transformation. Everything's changing. Left, right, and center. That's all you can do. But you take a risk. You take about how things are in that way, because everything has to be all good. This is not short and sweet. This is the way it works in that way. What's between this world card and this justice? The devil is upright, there's obsessions, and the Taurus is upright, there's healing. Obviously you want that. You want it to be happening all at once, because you're acting like, nobody doesn't care about you. But, in that way, in that perspective, people will care about you if you pay attention, to tell the truth, to know about it. This is not like a no man's land. This is not the way it works. Let me clarify the middle card, please. The Six of Pentacles here is you're not having any kindness. You're being who you are because you have no kindness, no respect, nothing. So when you have no kindness, you're being unkind. Right? It's like, oh, no, I'm not. It's like, yes, you are. Right? That's the way it works. So let's see what's between the middle of this situation. Magician reverse, there's no skill. World reverse, there's no incompletion. The Emperor is over their structure. Star is up right there, inspiration. That's the way it works. Right? You want to be inspired because you know what it is in that way. What's between the middle and the right side, please? Moon is up right there's misfortunes. Wheel force reverse, there's you're having bad luck. Night one star, there's immaturity. The here from her is upright, you want guidance. That's the way it goes. If you're acting to be immature, you understand how it goes. It's nobody that you need to do, but the way how it works, that's the way it seems to be. You're being unsatisfied, but you're being unwanted, you're being unneeded, but this is the way it works. You understand that. You need to identify what you want, what you get, but then you have to proceed with caution. That's all you can do. But you take a risk. You take the risk about what's happening in that situation. What's in the middle of this situation? Judgment yours, there's no action. Chariot yours, there's no progress. Hermit yours, you already have a soulmate. Two of Cups, there's relationships. Yeah, so you might be, offering between Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Maybe you're going to be after, Pisces or Cancer or Scorpio. It all depends on you, Virgo. But the way all this is, you need to understand that. You need to believe in order to do that, no matter what it takes, no matter what's going to be happening. That's the way it goes in that way, right? So that's the way it is. So let me see what the universe is saying. So I'm going to go from the middle to the right, middle to left. Ace of Cups, there's no satisfaction. Three of Wands, there's no inventions. Ace of Swords, there's an understanding. The Temperance card, there's healing. Ten of Swords, there's conclusions. Yeah, because you have all these conclusions. That's all you get. That's all you're going to get, because you're saying, "Why me? I can't do this anymore." But that's how it goes. You keep creating of what you're doing in that way. If you're acting to be, not mean, not rude, but that's how it goes. You want things to happen all at once because you think that everyone's up to against you about your unkindness and you're having violence and you don't like it, but you understand about if you're between that past, you're stuck with the past. You're talking about the past. Leave that alone, right? That's the way it works. Nobody cares about the past. You think about the present and the future. That's all you can do. The here and now process. Right, Virgo? You pay attention to it. No matter what it works in life, if you're showing about your own love, you show it. That's the way it works. What's between the middle and the left side, please? Ten of Cups, there's incompletion. Three of Wands, there's no communication. Which is there's skill. Seven of Swords, you're feeling deceit. Yeah, because when you have no communication, you're not being communicating. It's like everything is involved of how it goes, right? If you're having negative emotions, if you think that nobody cares about you, that's the way it works. You're trying to identify what you want, what you get, but then that's the way you're trying to proceed with caution. So let's see what this Three of Wands about for you, Virgo. Queen of Wands, there's charisma. Ten of Cups, there's no delusion. King of Cups, there's no support. Those there's no decisions. Ace of Wands, there's no beings. Three of Swords is upright, there's heartbreak. Yeah, because you're being sad. It's like you're thinking that nobody cares about you, Virgo. But the way all this is, you gotta think. You gotta think ahead. You got to understand that. You have to believe what's happening in that way, because everything has to be all good, but it's not. So you understand about that. You're trying to get to the point in that way. What's the middle of this situation, please? Hey, Ms. Ever, there's stillness, yeah, because there's basically restrictions, and you're being restricted, right? And when you're being restricted, that's the way it works. That's the way it seems to be in that way. So you understand of how it goes. But before I let you go, try to pay attention to this, Virgo. Pay attention about what's happening in your own feelings, in your own ways. You're trying to have your own confidence. If you have confidence, you know what I'm talking about. That's the way it goes. And this is the way it seems to be. You understand what you want, what you get, when you proceed. But the way how it works, you have to understand of how it is in that way, because that's the way it seems to be. You understand about there is a, everything that you need to know, that you have, like, there's a time and place for everything, no matter how it is, no matter how you're feeling. But the way how this is, you need to pay attention to it. There are things that you must learn first in order to do that. You have the ability to know what's right, what's wrong, and you understand that. You have to be kind, you have to be respected, you have to be who you are. If you think that you want to have loyalty, if you want people to recognize you, you understand what it is, Virgo. You get to the point. But, there are times where you need to understand to change your own direction, right? That's the way it works, right? That's how it seems to be. So that's the way how it is, and that's the way it works. You have to change your own mindset. That's the way it is. So I hope you all like this video and enjoy it, and this is the way it works. So I hope you all like this video. Thank you, and bye for now. Really, thanks, and bye.